Am I wrong for wanting to call off my wedding after my fiancé berated me in public? I am 25 years old, and my wedding is officially planned for next year with the man I thought was my future. But after a massive, terrifying fight with my 35-year-old fiancé the other day, I am seriously thinking about calling it off. I know that no relationship is perfect, but I feel like I just caught a glimpse of a giant, undeniable red flag. The roots of this nightmare actually started about 6 months ago when we were involved in a minor car accident. But the absolute second it happened, I remember my fiancé smirking and saying, "Woohoo! Now we get a nice payout." At the time, I didn't really understand what that meant. I thought it was just casual legal talk because he is currently studying law and comes from a long line of prominent lawyers. Fast forward a few weeks from that day, and he completely changed his tune regarding the entire accident situation. He looked me dead in the eye and said I needed to book an immediate doctor's appointment right away. He wanted me to complain about severe neck pain so we could get it documented and sue the insurance company for easy money. Now, to be fair, I have dealt with chronic neck pain for years, but it had absolutely nothing to do with that minor fender bender. I told him straight up that I wasn't comfortable committing fraud, and he instantly flew into a rage. He started shouting, "Why do you think you're better than everyone else? Everyone plays the system like this. It's not a big deal. You do have neck pain, so you aren't lying. Just go and get the paperwork." Because I was completely exhausted and couldn't be bothered to fight with him anymore, I finally gave in and agreed to go. He calmed down and promised he would come with me to the clinic to handle all the talking so I wouldn't have to worry about a thing. And that is when everything changed. On the day of the appointment, we were right about to walk out the door when he announced he needed to use the restroom. I let out a tiny, involuntary sigh, because he always does this right before we leave, and it constantly makes us late. He noticed my sigh, and his face instantly twisted with anger. He screamed, "Oh, really? Go by yourself then. Take the keys and just go." I didn't say a word. I quietly grabbed the car keys to leave, but as I walked toward the exit, he physically stepped in front of the door, blocking me from leaving the apartment. I asked him to please move, but he stood there like a wall, trapping me inside. Eventually, the tension broke, and he forced us to go together anyway. The second we parked at the medical center, he hopped out of the car and intentionally sprinted far ahead of me. I completely lost sight of him inside the busy building, which made me feel so incredibly isolated and small. I managed to get through the appointment on my own, but the real horror happened the second we stepped outside. Right there in the public parking lot, he started absolutely berating me. He was shouting that I never listened to him and that I ruined the entire appointment. I tried to remain completely calm, reminding him that he knew I was uncomfortable and that he had promised to help me inside, which he didn't do. He just kept scolding me like a child, pointing his finger in my face and snarling, "Don't you dare give me those eyes." It was completely unhinged because I was just staring at him in shock. For the first time in our relationship, I looked at this man and felt a wave of genuine fear wash over me. I didn't know what to say anymore. I felt my entire body freeze up, so I simply turned around and started walking away. I just kept walking down the sidewalk, completely numb. He got into his car, tracked me down, and started crawling along the curb, demanding that I get in. I told him I had my house keys, that I just needed some physical space, and to keep driving. Instead, he slammed the car into park, jumped out, and literally ran after me down the street, yelling, "Why are you being so embarrassing?" At that point, I broke down crying and begged him to leave me alone. He finally gave up and drove home. Once I knew the coast was clear, I quietly sneaked back into the apartment, packed my bags, and went to stay at my parents' house. For the first time in 3 years, the blindfold is off, and I realize I don't want to spend the rest of my life with this person. But I am so incredibly torn right now because part of me genuinely wonders if I am just being overly emotional. Everyone in our lives is going to be so deeply disappointed and shocked if I actually cancel this upcoming wedding. We have already poured so much precious time, money, and emotional effort into planning this entire event together from scratch. The thought of facing everyone is so humiliating. I just desperately need some outside perspective. Do all couples have these kinds of explosive, terrifying arguments from time to time? Or am I waking up to a reality that is far too deep to fix?